So, you want to move to Charlotte, North Carolina, but you're not quite sure how expensive it is. Well, let's figure it out. Hi, my name is Kevin. I am a local agent here in the Charlotte area, and it is so good to see you again. Thank you for tuning in. If it's your first time, I appreciate you being here. If you get value out of the content in this video, please consider liking the video and subscribing. And if you have any real estate related questions in the Charlotte area, pick up the phone, shoot me a text, give me a call. It does not matter. I'm here to serve and help you. Now, let's talk about the cost of living in good old Charlotte. Oh, and before I forget, I want to wish you and your family a happy holiday. The Christmas tree is right behind me. We're getting into the spirit, and I hope you have a wonderful Christmas with a lot of laughs, a lot of joy, and some awesome gifts, of course. So, there's that. Now, it is important to know that Charlotte has been one of the biggest growing cities in the entire country. We're talking about 100+ people getting here on a daily basis, which is insane. Now with that, the cost of living here is obviously going to change. So we're going to break it down. What is the housing going to cost? What are the income levels? What are some other spendings that you're going to encounter living here? So let's dive into it. Obviously, the biggest expense that most of us face is housing. So it's really important to kind of see how much you're going to have to spend to live here in Charlotte. The median home price currently in the city area is $379,000. Okay, that gets you a medium house, probably about a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, around 1,500 square feet. But what does that actually equate to on a monthly cost basis? So let's kind of dive into that. Now, obviously, your monthly payment or how much your housing is going to be, it's going to change depending on what kind of loan product you're going to get, how much money you're going to put down, what is your interest rate going to be. But this is what I figure with these terms. If we're buying the house at $379,000, we're putting 5% down, which a conventional loan is about 5% down. You can go lower than that with an FHA, about 3.5%. Again, talk to a lender about that part, but for these numbers, we're putting 5% down. We are locking the rate in for 30 years at 7%, which is pretty much the average rate right now at the time of this recording. Again, that could change, but that will put our payment at $2,711, okay? That does not include taxes or insurance yet, so we want to figure out how much that is going to be as well. Since most of us are going to put that, it's going to already be calculated into our payment and go into an escrow account that takes out the funds for you, so you don't have to do it separately, and the lender takes care of that for you. So taxes is going to be roughly about 1%, so that is going to be about $3,790. That over 12 months, we're looking roughly about $316, and insurance on average is about $2,000 a year, so it's another $167. So that puts our total at $3,194. So if you're buying a house at $379,000 in the Charlotte area with these terms, then that is what you can expect for your housing cost. Now, not all of us are looking to buy right away, don't want to buy for whatever the reason may be. So what are the rental rates looking like in the Charlotte area? The average rental rate in Charlotte and surrounding areas is $2,022, which is up 4% from last year. Now, rent in the city of Charlotte itself is $2,117. Some of the surrounding areas, Concord is $1,850, Huntersville $2,294, Gastonia $1,478, Davidson $2,477, and Waxhaw, which takes the cake at $2,768 a month for rent. So that's what you can expect if you're looking to rent in the Charlotte area. Now that we have figured out what you're going to pay for a mortgage or what you're going to pay for rent, obviously that is not everything yet. Utilities are probably or are something that you're going to encounter. We all want to have running water. We all want to have hot water. We all want to have electricity. So the average utility cost for electricity, for gas, for water, we're looking around $260 a month. Now that we know what it's gonna cost us to buy a house here, to rent a house here, we have to consider, are we gonna have enough money to actually afford being here as far as income is concerned in Charlotte? Now the good news is Charlotte is a good work spot because they have good jobs when it comes to finance, healthcare, manufacturing. Tech is also going up, so there are jobs here, which is great. And after looking at the census online, the average income in the Charlotte area is $74,070. Sounds great. Now let's briefly, before we dive into it, let's look how that compares to some other cities and the national average. The national average is $75,149. New York City is $76,607. Not sure how people do that in New York City, but that's the average. Atlanta is $77,655. So that sounds all fine and dandy, but what does that mean for us on a monthly basis? How much money am I gonna have left over after just paying for housing? If we take the $74,070, I don't know why I have a hard time saying that, and break it up on a monthly basis, okay? Before taking out taxes, we're looking at $6,173, okay? Not including federal or state taxes. Once we take out our federal taxes, which is taxed at this income at 22%, and if we're taking out our state tax, which is a flat, it is 4.99%, we are left with $4,573 after tax. Well, good news is you're gonna have some money left over, which is great. But let's talk about, just briefly read off some of these other expenses that are in the Charlotte area so you can kind of budget for those. Charlotte Care is about $9,100 a year. We all know Charlotte Care is pretty expensive. Gas prices at this time of recording for unleaded gas is $2.89 a gallon. Public transportation, if you want to take the bus, if you want to take the Lynx, a day pass for an adult is $6.60. A monthly pass within the city or the county of Mecklenburg is $121. A monthly pass within and without the county of Mecklenburg, it is $176. Okay, some food costs. Now obviously that can change. If for a dozen eggs, it's about $5. A pound of chicken, $5.50. A liter of milk, $1.02. And if you wanted to go out to eat and you don't want to cook, a basic meal at lunch is around $17. Okay, so if a family wants to pretty much budget for their grocery expenses, a good rule of thumb living here is about $300 per person. So obviously that is gonna go up and down depending on the quality of the food, but I think that will put you in a pretty good spot as far as like getting your budget ready. Well, there you have it. That was a brief overview of what it is going to cost to live in good old Charlotte, North Carolina. Obviously with housing taking the #1 spot, no surprise, and with the income, the average income, to see if it is possible to live a comfortable life in Charlotte, North Carolina. Now, if you're thinking about moving here and you have additional questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm always here to answer any questions. Now, have a fantastic Christmas and I'll see you next week.